All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Motown Sports Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. This is my brother and co-host,
Dalton.
Hello. Welcome back, Dalton. How you doing today?
Doing good. Getting ready for this NFL draft, baby.
Yes, we have our draft week special. Obviously, today is Sunday, but this Thursday is the big NFL draft that everyone has been waiting for, especially since Dan Campbell's gotten hired, Brad Holmes got hired. We're excited to see what we're going to do. He's acquired 2 future first-round draft picks for the next 2 rounds, but are we actually going to use them in the next 2 years? We'll discuss that here in a little bit. So let's just jump right into it. Let's go ahead and adjust that just a tiny bit there. All right, I think we're good. I think everything's live and working. I hope so. Looks like it anyways. So yeah, let's start with the first overall pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. It looks like it's obvious that Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1 overall.
Already sent him a playbook and everything, so it's consensus. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 to Jacksonville.
It's been rumored that they already have sent Trevor Lawrence the playbook. There's been a lot going on. Obviously, Urban Meyer has supposedly been in contact. Supposedly, according to rumors, I haven't looked too much into it, but Urban Meyer is even the one who scheduled his surgery that he had after his college season ended and all that stuff. So Urban Meyer's been involved with him very deeply, so I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to be going number 1 overall.
Which, I mean, number 1 quarterback going to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville had a pretty good offseason. Got a lot of offensive weapons for Trevor Lawrence to have this season.
Exactly.
So, Jacksonville might be good next year. Not saying they're going to be great or anything, but they might be a team to watch out for.
I mean, they got both Marvin Jones and Jamal Agnew down there, so they got some weapons, and they might even take some more in this year's draft. So, and they got James Robinson. James Robinson carried my fantasy team last year. He was an undrafted free agent last year who came out of. Was he undrafted? I can't remember. I think he was. Pretty sure he was an undrafted free agent.
I'm pretty sure he was.
If not undrafted, then he was a late round. And like I said, he made a huge impact. Again, he carried my fantasy team to the playoffs. I think I picked him up week 3 or something, week 2 or week 3, and that was just.
Pretty sure it's like week 3 or week 4, because that's when I was trying to pick him up too.
Exactly.
He took him from me.
Yeah, so he carried my fantasy team all the way into the playoffs, which ended up losing, but that's a different story. So, yeah, they're going to have some weapons down there. And Trevor Lawrence, the big question is going to be the offensive line, which and their defense, too. Again, I'm not too familiar with.
I mean, they got an okay defense.
Last I heard, they've traded everyone out of town, all their best defensive players. So, but again, I don't follow Jacksonville too concurrent, so I'm not up to date with all of their roster moves as of late. So who knows what Jacksonville's doing right now. I just know they've gotten a couple former Lions, and they've got a couple key pieces on offense that can keep them going. So then that moves on to the second overall pick which
is another consensus. Basically, everyone's saying it's going to be Zack Wilson after trading Sam Darnold.
I was going to say, especially after they traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers, it's pretty sure they're going to go Zack Wilson, because who else would they go with? I mean, unless they're going to still try and possibly trade for Deshaun Watson, which is possible, but again, with all these allegations and everything going on, and especially with draft week coming up this Thursday, I don't think that they're going to get that resolved within that time, and I don't think they're going to feel comfortable making a move, trading away that many assets to try and get Deshaun Watson. And Russell Wilson's kind of been out of he was an early kind of trade talk, but again, that's kind of died off now, so I don't think Russell Wilson's in the conversation at all. So like you said, it's kind of just the consensus pick that Zack Wilson's going to go number 2, unless somehow they randomly like Mac Jones or Justin Fields somewhat better.
I think Zack Wilson's the second best quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence. I think there's a big gap in between Zack Wilson to Mac Jones and Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Like, I think there's a huge gap. I think Zack Wilson and Trevor Lawrence can both come in and be day 1 starters, which, don't get me wrong, it wouldn't hurt them to sit sometime behind a veteran quarterback but they can, I believe, in my opinion, they can both come in and be day one starters, to where Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, I think they all are going to need at least half a year to a full year of sitting behind a quarterback and learning the NFL game of football.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think Zack Wilson, even so, I think like Matt Stafford is a perfect example. He was taken number 1 overall by a team that went 0-16 the year before, so he was literally pulled in and expected to transform this team around. And eventually he did, again with the coaching and everything, and we ended up becoming a somewhat formidable, decent winning team down the line. But again, like those first couple of years, he even if he didn't,
first 2 years he got injured.
Well, even if he didn't get injured, I don't think he would have been able to be successful with those teams, because you have to realize too, when you're picking that high, it's because you have a terrible team, and yeah. And again, I think when there's this famous quote from Mike Tomlin that he used when he was playing Chase Young earlier this year. He's like, "I hope I never lose enough games to pick somebody like you in the NFL draft," or something along those lines. I don't think that was the exact quote, but basically that's what he was saying, is he never wants to lose enough games to have to be up in those top 5s or something, top 3 picks. So again, when you're picking that high, there's a reason you're in that top 5, top 10 bracket. So again, even if they pick Zack Wilson and he starts day 1, they have some building to do. They have acquired some pieces this offseason, but it's going to take some time. And the Lions all wanted Robert Saleh, so we'll see what he does with the New York Jets and Zack Wilson, hopefully his presumptuous second-round new quarterback. We'll see what they do with the future and how that ends up playing out.
You know, that is one thing I will say about the Detroit fans, is since Dan Campbell's first interview, I haven't really heard anyone complain about the hire.
Exactly.
Everyone loves it, so...
Everyone wanted Robert Saleh early in the hiring process, and like I said, once Dan Campbell came out and talked about biting kneecaps and all that stuff, it's just kind of been...
Yeah, us Detroit fans are like, hell yeah, let's go bite some kneecaps, baby!
Exactly, and I love that that's just been the meme, like, around Detroit Lions fans, like, we're constantly just talking...
Biting kneecaps now!
I love it. I don't think, like, I understand, like, his mindset was just to come out aggressively and just get Detroit fans hyped, which is exactly what he did, but like what that statement is just...
That quote is going to be like, people are going to be making shirts and wearing shirts to the game that are going to just be talking about biting kneecaps off. So
if he does end up having any type of success and staying in Detroit and getting a second contract, again, that's if he's here 5, 6, 7 years from now, people are still going to be like, you biting them kneecaps, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, the kneecap biter.
Exactly. It's going to live with him the rest of his career. Again, even if he goes on and coaches other places, it's always just going to be a staple of his career. But again, obviously we hope the best for Dan Campbell.
100%.
Yeah, so we've gotten off topic. So this is going to move into number 3 in the NFL draft, which is owned by the San Francisco 49ers.
And this is where the draft starts kind of, a lot of question marks, a lot of, he could go. Like, this is where all the questions start.
Yeah, this is
where a lot of teams could be trading up, trading down.
Well, this is the thing. The San Francisco 49ers traded up to the 3rd position. But the thing is, they didn't trade away Jimmy Garoppolo. They still have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. So that leaves in question, are they going to try and use that 3rd-round draft pick to somehow flip it for somebody else, get more draft assets, trade back? But again, why would you trade that much up to if you're not going to go for a quarterback when it's pretty much known that, again, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks? Yeah, so again, this is the question. Are they going to take Mac Jones, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance? And if you listen to the infamous Michael Lombardi, who is on Pat McAfee Hammer Down, he does a lot of other things. I'm sorry, I can't name off the top of my head. I think he writes for The Athletic and the Daily Coach, something like that. I apologize, but yes, he is very still with the NFL, and he is very knowledgeable and knows what he's talking about. And he thinks that, like, the most Kyle Shanahan offense is not a Justin Fields type player. It's either going to be Trey Lance, or excuse me, it is not Mac Jones type player. It is more of the Trey Lance, Justin Fields type player, and that's why they're keeping Jimmy Garoppolo, because he knows both those players are going to require sort of a redshirt year and a training year underneath Jimmy Garoppolo to learn. So they're going to keep him, and again, maybe even halfway through the year, kind of maybe switch it up. So kind of, again, I'm thinking that it's not going to be Mac Jones number 3 overall, and that he's going to end up slipping. Might even be an Aaron Rodgers type situation, because again, after you kind of get past those top 3, again, we'll move into it a little bit more, but after that, it's like the need for quarterbacks sort of drops off. So, but seriously, are they going to be with Justin Fields, who is, some people say, is the more NFL-ready quarterback, or Trey Lance, who, again, is the more future typical protege that you could kind of put on your bench and just kind of let him get into his prime and learn and develop? What do you think?
The way I see Justin Fields is the same way I kind of saw Denard Robinson back when he played for Michigan.
Yeah, I remember.
He was a okay quarterback in college, which I will say Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Denard was, but Justin Fields also has a lot of speed, and I could definitely see a team trying him out at quarterback and it not working, and them moving him to a different position or something.
Yeah, if you want to go back, sorry for cutting you off, if you want to go back even further, look at like someone like Terrell Pryor, who he could end up being like something like that, who they try him out at quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't end up working out. But like you said, he's got that speed, so they end up trying either moving him to wide receiver or maybe even tight end to see which one would work out best for him.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how Justin Fields' game will translate to the NFL. Just like all of these rookies, you guys have to understand that to college football and to NFL football are two completely different things. Because in college, you're versing the best students that came to this college. So you could have some people like me on the team just because they didn't have enough people to fill out the roster or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the NFL, that's the top of the top. Like, you have to be good to make it. So you're not playing any bad players. You're not playing anybody. So some of these guys, and you see it all the time, all these draft busts and everything, just don't perform well in the NFL once you start getting. And for rookie quarterbacks, it's extremely hard to read defenses because defensive coordinators love disguising their defenses and throwing you off and everything. So some people just don't make it, and I could definitely see Justin Fields as being one of those people that has to switch positions.
Yeah, exactly.
Now watch me say all this, and then he goes on to have like a Hall of Fame career and is one of the best quarterbacks ever, and people are coming at me like, remember when you said this?
Well, exactly. There's a specific thing for that. You keep going. I gotta fix something.
All right. I definitely feel out of Trey Lance or Justin Fields for the 49ers, I would probably go Fields because he's just more of a...
Sorry.
You're fine. A guy that I would see in San Francisco over Trey Lance.
So you think?
So I have Fields. After my whole spiel about Fields, I think Fields is gonna go number 3.
So you talk crap about Fields, saying you might end up possibly transitioning to a wide receiver, and then say he's gonna end up 3. But again, you might not be wrong. Again, another thing to take into consideration is, like you just said, Trey Lance and Justin Fields are both kind of more of that mobile type quarterback, and Kyle Shanahan's father is Mike Shanahan, who has coached some Hall of Fame quarterbacks in his career, like Steve Young, and he's also took Robert Griffin III in Washington. Like, he's coached a lot of mobile quarterbacks, and he seems to like that style. So again, if Kyle is anything like his dad, we know Jimmy Garoppolo isn't really that mobile is going to run around the pocket and everything like that, quarterback. So if they're going to try and move away from Jimmy, they might be trying to move into that new style. Because, again, with people like Lamar Jackson, and then obviously we saw Russell Wilson's been doing it for years, like that type of style
Mahomes.
exactly, that type of style it's coming into the NFL. It's more of a style, it's college style play, but it's becoming more and more in the NFL. Every year you see it more and more. So
All right. So then moving on to pick 4, we have the Atlanta Falcons, which they don't need a quarterback. And it kind of sounds like they're willing to stick with Matt Ryan for at least the rest of his contract.
yeah.
So I could definitely see them going a different route. Maybe a Kyle Pitts. Everyone loves Kyle Pitts. They say he's going to be better than TJ and George Kittle and stuff. So
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is just my personal opinion. I haven't really heard this anywhere, but I honestly feel like I haven't checked. I don't even know if the Falcons are open to trading back, but I think that the Falcons might be one of those teams that end up trading back, and one of those other teams might jump up to get whichever one of those quarterbacks is left at 4.
Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, whichever quarterback's left.
Like you just mentioned, there's none either. The Falcons are set with Matt Ryan. They're paying him I think over $100 million or something like that. His contract is absurd. They have Calvin Ridley. They have Julio Jones. They're good on wideouts. They don't need one of those top wide receivers. So they honestly might end up trading back with one of those other teams that might end up trading up, because behind Falcons is Cincinnati, which they obviously don't need a quarterback. We'll talk about them in a second. And then we have the Dolphins after them, which again, I really don't see them drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first round year after year. Even if they don't believe in Tua, I don't think they're going to go that route and waste that first round pick on something like that. So again, I think whoever one of those bottom teams that wants a quarterback could possibly trade up to 4, and the Falcons could possibly trade down. Or if not, I think the Falcons go with maybe one of the O-lines, honestly, to protect Matt Ryan. They definitely need a running back, but I don't see someone like Najee Harris or any of those running backs going this early in the draft. So again, I see them either trading down or possibly going O-line to protect Matt Ryan and whoever they end up getting at running back, something like that. Yeah, I guess that's it. Then moving on to the Bengals, like I said, they're not going to take a quarterback. They should an O-line. And from what I've heard, again, I haven't really read too much, especially into the Bengals draft status, but they're definitely going more wide receiver. They'd love to have Jamar Chase, who played with Joe Burrow formerly at LSU, which he didn't play at all last year in 2020. He opted out to prepare for the NFL draft, and his last time playing was his career year in 2019, not 101 years ago, with Joe Burrow when they had that went on to the obviously championship winning season. So they definitely want to get Jamar Chase back in there to pair him with. But again, the logical opinion is not to take Jamar Chase. It's to go O-line, because look at his
Sewell or the Big Ten tackle, which
is what I've heard. They're preferring him. Even if Swell's there, I'm hearing they prefer. Again, I know who you're talking. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they are. Seems like they prefer him over Swell from
Slater. Yes. Right? That's who it is. Yep, Slater.
Yeah, it's from what I've heard, they prefer him over Swell anyways. So he could end up dropping, but again, the Bengals are the Bengals, and I think they're going to end up going wide receiver.
Honestly, either way, I think will work for them. I do definitely, after Joe Burrow's injury, and that being because they don't have an offensive line, and to my knowledge, they didn't really go out and get offensive linemen in free agency. Mm-hmm. That should be their number one. But you'll always need wide receivers, too. If you have a good quarterback, you get good wide receivers. I guess you don't need an offensive line because they can get the ball to each other. We're not GMs. We don't know what what GMs are thinking. Obviously, we're not GMs for a reason. So we'll just look back at this draft in a couple of years and see what they did, if it was smart or dumb.
Exactly. And again, we can look back at so many drafts. What was it? The 2011 draft. Somebody posted this the other day. I think it was Brandon Weeden, Cam Newton, and shit. Why can I not remember? Somebody who's not even in the NFL anymore, and Cam Newton is not even a relevant quarterback. But basically, I want to say it was Kellen Moore, but I don't think it was Kellen Moore. Basically, yeah, it was just three quarterbacks who they were saying they were going to be the top three quarterbacks in the draft, and they were not that good. And then again, same thing. Let's look at 2012. That's a perfect example. I think pretty sure I can think of that off the top of my head. We obviously have Andrew Luck, who, if he was still playing,
he was good.
I was going to say he
retired.
Yes, he was amazing, and if he was still playing, he would probably be amazing if it was not for injuries. Even with his injuries, he still probably would be pretty decent. Still starting.
I mean, the Colts. I was going to say the Colts have a good offensive line, a good defense, and their offense was okay.
They were building around Andrew Luck the whole time, and they ended up retiring on him. That's why they're kind of stuck right now with a good defense and good O-line. But yeah, so even if he was still playing, I think he'd still be a starting quarterback for the Colts. So Andrew Luck, he doesn't count. He is really good. Then we have, I think next after that was Russell.
RG3.
Yep, Russell, not that's later. Yes, Robert Griffin III went next, and he obviously was great his very first year, and then he got hurt and went down, and then he was okay, and then he just kept getting hurt, and now he is a backup for, I think, Baltimore, right?
The Ravens, yep.
Yeah, he's a backup in Baltimore, and I remember he started a couple games this year, and he's just not what he used to be.
He had potential
his
rookie season until that knee injury. That knee injury really messed him up. And that also gave Kirk Cousins this chance to start. And Kirk Cousins obviously played really well, so he ended up getting the starting job and now is in Minnesota.
Exactly, yeah, which moving on. So then we have him, and we also have Ryan Tannehill, who was taken in that draft, who supposedly sucked in Miami and supposedly was a bust for so many years, but then ended up revitalizing his career in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel, his head coach. Sorry, I had a problem saying that. And so again, and then we can even go to 2015 when you got
Mariota and Jameis Winston.
Yep, who was going to go first overall, blah, 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 who's going to be and now both of them are backups, which Jameis Winston is still probably going to be the backup considering how much money they paid to Taysom Hill. So he's still probably going to be the backup. And then we got, again, they even just extended not Ryan Tannehill, Marcus Mariota's contract, I believe, in Oakland because he's a backup over in Oakland right now. So, yeah, again, both backups. Then even the next year, like I said, you can look at Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, who they both signed huge extensions as they were going to be their team savers, and now both of them are traded away to two different teams. Yes, both of them are still starters and supposed to be pretty good, which we'll see this year. But
and both of them did go to a Super Bowl.
Yes, that is true, which Carson was hurt, but still, they're supposed to be franchise-changing quarterbacks. All these quarterbacks in the first couple rounds are supposed to be franchise-changing, and then they just end up flaking off or end up getting traded away even after signing huge contracts just because you're held.
So what we're saying is if you want a quarterback that's good, you wait. You never draft him in the first round.
I'm not saying that because, like I said, look at Andrew Luck. Look at Matthew Stafford. Look at...
Never won, though.
Yes, but
Tom Brady. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I know. We can talk about all this. Again, if like Stafford's a perfect example. Nobody, when he's in Detroit, when he's Detroit's starting quarterback, he's terrible. But then when he's up for option, everyone in the league wants him. He's one of the best quarterbacks available. Top 5, top 10 quarterback. Blah 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 blah.
So, yeah, we need to get back on our draft talk. We're only at pick 6.
Yeah, sorry. We're not going to go through the whole first round. We're just kind of going through the first maybe 10, kind of seeing how they play out. But Yeah, so then we got 6, which is the Dolphins. Obviously, they have the pick from Philadelphia.
They definitely have to go wide receiver here.
Yes, it's
with all these wide receivers, they have to go wide receiver.
I'm pretty sure they're either going to go Devontae Smith or a Jalen Waddle, one of them from Alabama, one of Tua's former teammates, so they can play together.
We are saying that Jamar Chase probably went to the Bengals or something, so Jamar Chase is off the board.
Yeah, I guess we really haven't been saying anything definite this entire time. We've just kind of been saying possibilities, so. Because, again, I said this in last week's episode. I hate mock drafts, and that's why I just... We're not NFL
They're
GMs.
never right.
Huh?
So, they're never right.
No, none of them. Like I said, even the expert...
Mel Kiper last year for last year's draft got, 10% of the draft actually correct.
Yeah, something like that. Even the experts, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, even they barely get it right because you can't predict this stuff. You don't know what teams are thinking, and you don't know what they've seen on film, what some scouts have pointed out, what coaches have even told them, who they're calling, if their mom told them, or they're you have no idea because these teams are calling everybody. They're talking to old friends, family friends. They're talking to everyone in this player's life, and you have no idea what was said. So you can't predict that stuff.
So we definitely have Miami going with one of the wide receivers.
So that leaves us at 7.
So 7. So we have the Detroit Lions.
Brad Holmes has come out earlier this week and stated that he is willing to trade back from 7. They're hearing trade possibilities. And
so New England, because in New England, there's been a lot saying they really like Mac Jones. So if they want to trade up to get him, thinking that Denver's going to draft him, saying there is still 1 or 2 of the quarterbacks available at this point in our mock draft. So saying they would want to move up just to make sure they get Mac Jones. That's a possibility.
Who would we say is available? Because we said Lawrence at 1, Wilson at 2, then either Fields or... You said
Lance.
Fields. You said Fields at 3, so we'll go Fields at 3.
Fields.
So Lance would be left then at 7.
Lance or Jones.
Yeah, Lance. Yes. Wait. Yeah, Lance or Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just assumed. I don't know. So we have the possibility. Carolina.
There's also been some speculations that the last Mel Kiper mock draft, I think, had us going Patrick Surtain the second, which I don't know how I feel about that. Going,
isn't he a corner?
Yes, he's the corner from Alabama, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know how I feel about that because we drafted Okudah 3rd overall last year. So let's take the 7th pick this year and go. Which, don't get me wrong, I guess having the number 1 corners in the past 2 drafts would be really nice, but I think Okudah can still turn out, and I really like Awarie. So I don't really see the need at corner right there for us. So I would much rather go either linebacker, wide receiver, or if Swell's there, Swell.
Yeah, like I said it in the last episode, I think we should go wide receiver. And I would obviously prefer Jamar Chase, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be going number 5 to Cincy to be paired with Joe Burrow. So, if anything, and then I'm assuming Dolphins go Devontae Smith, which, again, hoping they go Devontae Smith, because personally, I don't want Devontae Smith. Me and Dalton were talking before we got on, and he's trying to convince me why we should want Devontae Smith.
I'm not convincing you, and I'm not saying that I want Devontae Smith, but one of Jordan's biggest arguments of why he doesn't want him is because he's too small. Like, he's not built enough and everything, which he's not. He is skinny, but...
And I understand there's players like Tyreek Hill who are undersized, small, skinny, and he's one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. He's one of the fastest guy. He probably is the fastest guy in the NFL. And like I said,
what Devontae Smith has done in college, which, like I told Jordan here, in the SEC, where that is the top of the top in college football. Like, the SEC is it. Like, they're always the number 1. Like, they always have the best programs. So it's not like he's playing...
Yes, but to my argument You also have Jalen Waddle on the other side. You also have, wasn't Najee Harris from Alabama?
Yes.
Yeah, so you got Najee Harris in the backfield, and you've got this college team defense. Yes, it's the SEC, but what are you going to do? Double team both of them and put 8 in the box against Najee Harris? Like, who are you going to guard? And then, like I said, you.
Okay, but I'm also saying all that offensive weapons, and he still managed to win the Heisman, which normally goes to quarterbacks or running backs. So going to a wide receiver is.
But we also know Heisman doesn't equal success in the NFL. So.
Yes, but.
I don't know. Again, this is my personal opinion. Like we keep saying multiple times, we're not NFL GMs, but my personal opinion, I'm hoping Devontae Smith goes 5 to Cincy, and we end up with Jalen Waddle is who I would prefer. Again, if we're taking wide receiver, that's who I want is Jalen Waddle. And again, from what some draft experts say, I know you said it's a deep wide receiver draft class and blah, blah, blah. But from what I'm hearing, it's like once those top guys are gone, it's a pretty big talent drop off to the next top wide receiver. So I think, like I said, we need to get one of those top guys at wide receiver to pair with DeAndre Swift and Jared Goff to help them out. Or, like I said, if Swell is still available at 7, if he ends up dropping, I don't really see how you could pass on him, to be honest with you.
Our offensive line and honestly the right tackle.
I was gonna say the thing is he plays left tackle though mostly, and we're already set at left tackle. But
that's the thing is he's been working on right tackle. But because of that, because a lot of teams are like, we don't really need a left tackle, but a right tackle we did, and that's so he's been working on the right tackle. Or Taylor Decker could also be moved to the right tackle.
I don't know. We already signed Taylor Decker to a huge contract, and that is what I was going to argue, actually, is if you're drafted at left tackle or right tackle, which, again, I know you can move around and be set at a certain position, but, again, if you're labeled at left tackle, you're getting paid on average way more than you are getting at right tackle. So I think he would prefer to be at left tackle and be a star at left tackle because that's where you would get the most money because most quarterbacks are right-handed, and they're going to be, obviously, your blind side is your left side. So that's why most left tackles are the most expensive offensive linemen. And again,
that's my pick though. If Swell is there, we have to go Swell. For us, we just can't pass on that. Saying we're not going to have that good wide receivers this year, just adding that extra tackle will solidify our line and make better holes for Swift and Williams, block way better for Jared Goff. You've seen, you could have an okay quarterback, but have a great line, and that okay quarterback is going to perform.
Exactly. O-line, and you saw it in the not NFL championship, in the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, and you've seen how the Chiefs have been loading up on their offensive line. They paid Joe Thuney from the Patriots a huge amount of money, and they just traded for Orlando Brown from the Ravens. They are going all in, and obviously, what's his name? Derek Fisher will hopefully be back fully healthy next year.
And that's the thing is a lot of people, because they let a lot of their offensive linemen go, and everyone's like, what are they doing? And then it's like, boom, boom, boom. Literally, 3 of the best linemen are now on our line. They were like, all right, yeah, they're not working out. Get out. All our money in offense.
This last Super Bowl, even though, like I said, both teams were stacked on offense, it literally goes to show that the NFL game is won, in the trenches. Yes, you win with your offensive line protecting your quarterback and your running back and getting holes for them to produce. Again, you saw with Patrick Mahomes, even as quick and athletic as he is, he could not outrun some of those pass rushers. And same thing with the defensive line. If you can get to the quarterback, even if doesn't matter who it is, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, if you can get to them and disrupt their passing, interrupt their pocket, you're gonna be successful against them. It's as simple as that. So football is won in the trenches, and like you said, I agree. If Swell's there, you have to go with him. But again, if Swell's not there, And if somehow which I don't think all those wide receivers were gone, or if you're just not set on Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith and you want to trade back for one of the defensive players, which we've said before, we definitely need a defensive player like Micah Parsons, but I don't think he is.
I was going to say, I don't think Parsons is a 7th overall pick, so I definitely say try to trade back for Parsons.
Yeah, for sure.
But if, like Jordan said, if they are sold, like, Waddle's our guy, like, we have to get him, like, he's just here, and the rest of the wide receivers are here, like, then do it. I trust Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I trust them to do what they want. Us being Pistons fans, we've seen when you question the GM, doesn't always work, because then the GM those players turn out to be great players, and you're like, well, why'd I question him? So, I'm trusting in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell for their first NFL draft, and we will see where it goes from there.
Exactly, yeah. We got a lot of questions still. We'll see. They'll all be answered this Thursday, though.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, big draft. Again, we I don't know what we're going to do yet. I don't think we're going to do – I don't know. We don't know what we're going to do yet. I don't know if we're going to do draft night, if we're going to do day after, if we're going to wait till the full draft's over.
A Q&A, like on Twitter.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a live Q&A on Twitter if people are interested.
People just send us questions and we'll answer them as the draft's going on. How we feel about which pick and everything.
Yeah. And again, we can talk about the rest of the top 10 if you want, or as I kind of teased at the beginning of the episode, we have 2 future first-round picks, but are they actually going to be used the next 2 years? Because it is possible that Brad Holmes, as much as he keeps saying retool, he could use one of those other extra first-round picks to trade up into the late first round. Again, because we assume that the first-round picks that we got from the Rams are going to be later in the first round. So we could possibly, again, use that as ammunition to trade up into the later first round this year for a team like we just saw. Wasn't it the Chiefs who just traded away? There was a 31st overall pick for Orlando Brown and some other picks and stuff like that. So again, there could be some teams, again, like the Bucks, who obviously they're at 32. I don't know if you want to do that, but there could be teams who are like, we're already set. Like, we're good. We think
honestly, even if you get a second-round pick, a high second-round pick, that's basically still a first-round pick.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We could use like one of the later first-round picks, like the 2 years from now, I think 2023, extra first-round pick, and trade up to kind of hurry up and bolster our team for the next couple of years, and then still have an extra first round for next year. Again, that we could use even maybe later in this year. If we have some players go down or something, need to make some trades, you could use that extra first round as ammunition for trade like that. So again, it is possible that he got all these picks as just ammunition. So again, for a situation like that where you need a player,
that is something I haven't thought about, because they do keep saying retool, so these could definitely be used as trade bait for sure.
Exactly. So we got Jared Goff and we got 2 first-round picks that again could just be used as trade bait or again ammunition to.
The more you look at that trade, we 100% won that trade, no matter how well Stafford does out in.
Even
Los
if they
Angeles.
win the Super Bowl within the next 2 years, because like you said, there's teams, obviously we're going for the future. We're not going for the Super Bowl next year. The Rams are going for the Super Bowl this coming year or the following year within the next 2 years. And again, I don't think they're going to extend Stafford or stuff. That's a whole different conversation. But again, we're building for the future and we're building a culture here. And that's the whole thing. And that's what I've talked about in previous episodes multiple times, that you have to have the continuation of a regime. You can't just keep changing head coaches, which I know we should have got rid of Matt Patricia. I'm not saying we should have kept him, but I'm just saying you need to build a regime. You need to have a continuous culture in there. Look at the Patriots. Look at the Steelers. Look at the Seahawks. They have had the same head coach, same GM for years and years and years because it's working, because they're successful, because they figured it out, and players enjoy playing for them. Players love playing for the Steelers. Players love playing for the Seahawks because they say it's a great environment and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to build a culture like that, and it seems like Dan Campbell is building that type of place where players want to come and play for him. They're not forced to by contract to trade. They actually want to come to Detroit and play for him. So again, we will see how the draft plays out. We'll see what kind of culture he builds, but that's what I'm saying. We just need to build that continuation, and hopefully we can be successful from there, and that's what we're trying to do here. And the Rams are trying to build or win in the next 2 years. So as you started off this whole conversation, we did win this trade. And again, because we're looking for the future, and hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years with those draft picks that we got, we will be more successful than the Rams by the end of this whole thing.
Look at the chat.
What's up, fans? What's going on? Now, Matt, not much going Lions. Thank you for hopping in here. We appreciate it. I think we're getting towards the end of the stream, actually. Again, unless you want to run through the rest of the top 10, Dalton.
I was going to say, we have Carolina, which after training for Sam Darnold, they're not going quarterback. I could definitely see them taking Patrick Surtain.
Cornerback.
They do need a corner.
I was going to say, their defense is already pretty good, though. They're pretty stacked.
They don't have corners.
I was going to say, I'm not too familiar with their corners, but I know that their defense is really good last year. And I know the only wide receiver I can think of is Robbie Anderson for the Panthers. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. I agree. Thanks.
So then at 9 we have Denver.
I don't know. Again, they have to be going
quarterback. They have to go with whatever quarterback's left.
So I guess that goes into our conversation earlier that they could have possibly trade up to 4 for Atlanta, and then Atlanta move down to 9 and hope maybe pick up an extra late round pick or a pick for next year or something. Then we have the Cowboys, I don't know what they're doing here. We know they like Kyle Pitts, and they've talked about trading up for Kyle Pitts, which he's kind of someone we haven't even talked about this whole time. And do you think it's possible he drops down to 10?
No, God, no. From what I've heard, a lot of teams like him, and a lot of teams are willing to trade up for him because he's that good. I don't think he falls. I think somebody trades up into top 5 to get him.
So again, maybe
unless he gets taken in the top 5 by one of the teams that are already there. But there's no way Kyle Pitts falls to 10.
Again, I feel like it all falls on the Falcons. Like, they're one of that biggest question mark right there. Because again, if they're going to trade back with who could it be, Denver or Dallas, or what if the Falcons take Kyle Pitts, transition him?
I was going to say that could be a good fit for them, saying they do have Julio Jones
and Calvin Ridley,
and they have, they had Todd Gurley. I believe he's still under contract.
I don't think so.
Sure. But they have Matt Ryan, so he could be a good weapon because they don't really have a tight end.
I was going to say, I can't even name their tight end because I know Austin Hooper left and went to Cleveland last year, so I don't even know who their tight ends are anymore.
I see Dallas taking Pitts or Sutton.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good option too. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely this draft is all just up in the air with that literally from 4 till on. There's so
3,
many teams
like I said, with 3 right there. Once it hits 3, like I said, it's going to be 1, 2, Lawrence, Fields, and then 3, it's like, not Fields, sorry,
4.
Lawrence and Wilson, 1 and 2, and then again 3. It's like, is it going to be Fields? Is it going to be Jones, Lance?
See, but then that's the thing. I definitely see the 49ers taking quarterback. So basically, after that is when I say the draft really starts, because then that's when teams might want to trade up to get that quarterback or trade down, or there's a lot of question marks in this draft, and a lot of that goes to say with COVID and everything. COVID's messed up a lot of this. But I am excited. The draft is back actually in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that. No more virtual stuff.
Yeah, it was a really weird draft. Roger Goodell definitely did not enjoy it last year. He was very tired by the end of it. Supposedly, they are allowing bro hugs with Roger Goodell on stage this year, is what I heard. Something like that.
Everyone probably has to be tested like days beforehand and stuff. So.
Well, I think Roger Goodell said he's fully vaccinated, so he's doing bro hugs. He's going to be taking on huge linemen again, get them big hugs from them. So it'll be cool to watch. Back to slowly getting back to normal.
Normal. Yep.
But yeah. Again, not really much else. I agree. The draft starts with Atlanta. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's once it goes there, it's going to be real interesting to see who trades in and trades out. I guess the Eagles are somebody too. They could be a possibility because are they fully set on Jalen Hurts? Are they going to want to trade up for a quarterback too? Because they're at 12.
But I think trading Carson Wentz away kind of said that they're in for Jalen Hurts because you had Carson Wentz, which he's injury prone, but he was good until this season.
Yeah.
And then you have Jalen Hurts, which you only really got to see a couple games last season of. So getting rid of Carson and keeping Hurts kind of tells me that they're looking for Hurts, and I don't see them trading up or anything. They need wide receivers and defense. And
wasn't Jalen Hurts Ohio State?
No.
He was Alabama. Pretty sure.
Alabama.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't.
Yeah.
To me personally,
Tua went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So yes, if they wanted a quarterback, I don't think they would have traded down. Yeah, I agree with that too.
That's a good statement.
Yeah.
So, Jalen Hurts it is then. I don't know. To me personally, I just don't think Ohio State or Alabama produces good quarterbacks. Who did we say? Tua obviously is from Alabama, and then there was somebody else recently that was drafted. That's too early to say. Who was drafted just a couple of years ago from Ohio State?
You just said Alabama, and now you're talking about
I don't know.
Ohio
I
State.
said both Ohio State and Alabama can't produce quarterbacks, is my opinion.
Oh, okay. Alabama might be a stretch, but
I don't know. Also, what's his name? Justin Fields was under their new quarterback, not Nick Saban. Or not. I keep getting confused. He was not under Urban Meyer.
Yes, he was under a different coach.
Yeah, a different head coach at Ohio State. So Justin Fields might be a little bit different. But again, personally, I just don't think
Dwayne Haskins was the Ohio State quarterback.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Zach J. Dwayne Haskins was the player that I was thinking of, yes. And he is the Ohio State quarterback that just did not make it. And he's backing up Ben Roethlisberger now.
But I did hear that it wasn't like he just didn't want to work to become that quarterback. He just wouldn't put the work in. So I don't necessarily know if that's Ohio State's fault or that's a personnel problem.
Yeah. Again, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. There's probably people out there who could pull out stats and some quarterback that I don't know about. But just in my personal eye test, I don't think that Alabama... Again, when they're in college, they're great, but they don't produce good
Johnny
NFL...
football.
They don't produce good NFL quarterbacks.
Man, talking about Johnny Manziel, baby.
Yeah, exactly. The money
I
sign.
was actually at his first preseason game.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Back when he, yeah, I totally forgot about him, man. That's,
He was supposed to be the Browns' savior.
He was Texas A&M, though. Yeah, he wasn't. But he was, he was another one.
Started playing at Georgia. Huh, I didn't even know that.
I did not know that either. But again, I don't really follow college football that often, so. But that is a good tip.
I'm more of the college football watcher, so.
Yeah, I don't really follow
But
that
I
too
didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that. Georgia does a lot of good quarterbacks.
Yeah, obviously they produced Stafford and they produced
Jake Fromm.
Yeah, him, and then there was somebody else who just came out a couple of years ago that I can't think about either. Obviously DeAndre Swift came out of there. Somebody else. I don't know. I'm on my brain. It's 9:30. It's late. My brain's too.
Yeah, your brain's fried. Damn.
Yeah. We also have the Giants at 11. They're kind of set on offense, I feel like. They got Gallaudet, they got Saquon, they got Danny Dimes. They got
I think if Micah Parsons is still there, that's who they go with.
You think they're going defense, which they kind of need to?
Yeah, I think if Parsons there, they go Parsons.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to have to go defense. And then we have the Chargers at 13, which I have no idea I haven't heard anything about them, what they're thinking.
Probably O-line.
That would make sense.
Because they don't really need a wide receiver. I guess they could maybe go a defensive back or something like that if there's still one available, but
they still have what's his name? Darwin James or what's his name back there?
Yeah, Darwin James.
So
yeah, I could definitely see him going offensive line for sure.
Yeah, again, you want to protect Justin Fields. You don't want to have another Andrew Luck situation where you draft somebody.
Herbert.
Yes, I'm saying you don't want to have an Andrew Luck situation where he gets.
Yeah, but you said Justin Fields.
Thank you. Yes. It's getting too late. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But yes, you don't want to have an Andrew Luck situation with Justin Herbert where he gets hurt too much and he just ends up retiring because he's getting. Or same thing with Joe Burrow.
Fields transferred to Ohio State. I knew Fields transferred. I just didn't know where he came from.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's what happens. Most college players will sit a couple years behind a quarterback, then their junior year transfer to a team that needs a quarterback, and then play really well and go to the draft.
Yeah.
But
so
then 14 we have Minnesota, which defense or offensive line?
I have no idea.
I would say offensive line or defense for sure.
Yeah, this is why we don't do mock drafts. We're not too familiar. The Patriots are a good question, though, because, again, do you think they're one of those teams that might trade up?
I think they want to trade up and get Mac Jones. I've heard that they absolutely love Mac Jones.
I've heard they want a quarterback, too. And, again, they are okay with somebody like Mac Jones, which some people think he can start day one, but some people, again, think that, like, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, like somebody like that who can sit behind Cam Newton and learn, which again, I think Fields or Lance would kind of be more of that better. If they're sitting behind Cam Newton, I think those two would be a better fit for that type of style of offense with Cam Newton.
But I don't think
Bill Belichick wants
that style of offense. He's just kind of like, Cam Newton's the best thing I got, so I'm doing it.
Yeah, so they could trade up. And again, a lot of these teams, like I said, they could 15 might be a spot where the Lions might be willing to trade back, take 15, and either get like a third, fourth round pick or a later round pick for the next year or something like that from the Patriots. So that might be a spot where we might hit. And again, I would kind of be okay with moving to 15 because I feel like that, again, if we're not, what?
The Go Lions said Minnesota kicker if Hunter believes.
That'd be nice. But what's the highest a kicker's ever been drafted? Like the third round, I think?
Probably. There's no way there's ever been a kicker seconder.
I'm going to look
All right. Real quick, while he's looking that up, I did have a hypothetical question that I asked Jordan off camera. Say you have the number one pick and you're the GM of a team. What?
Sebastian Janikowski was drafted in the first round.
Wow. All right. I mean, I guess I could see why, but I did not know a kicker or punter ever went that high.
17th overall.
Wow.
You learn something new every day, I guess.
Who was it that drafted him?
The Oakland Raiders.
That's why. That's why he was number first round. But going back to my hypothetical, if you had the first overall pick and you were an NFL GM and there was a punter that every time he punted the ball, he pinned the opponents at the 1 yard line every single time, would you draft him number 1 or would you go somewhere else? And Zach said that guy is no longer a GM. Yeah, I wonder why. I want trade back first. I like 15. Can take G. Jenkins, OT, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about him. Again, I don't really look too much into him personally, but I have heard he's really high in the first round after Slater and Swell as well. So, again, if we move back and they're both gone, he's somebody that I would definitely be okay taking as well.
Honestly, I really want to see Detroit either go... Janikowski is a Hall of Famer. Yes, he is, but still. A kicker in the first round, when you probably have way more needs, I don't think you should ever take a kicker that high. But I'm down for us to trade back and take a tackle or defense. That's honestly, I want us 100% to go line or defense, any defensive position except for DBs. I feel like we're pretty set on DBs.
Yeah, definitely linebacker.
I don't want a wide receiver because I feel like this draft is just way too deep in that wide receiver room. So I want to wait on a wide receiver.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if we can't get one of those top wide receivers, I want someone at O-line because, again, we already have, God damn it, Taylor Decker. I was like, I think I can picture his face. I can't picture him. We got Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, 2 staples at offensive line. We just need somebody. We need a staple at right tackle. Then we can just plug and place at guard and rotate people in and out. But we just need that third right tackle we can just solidify our offensive line. Because, like I said, if we can protect Goff, give him time, doesn't matter who we throw out there at wide receiver. And same thing with Swift. If we can protect Swift and give him room to run, we saw what he did last year. He can make some plays. So I think,
and adding Jamal Williams too.
Oh yeah,
to where you can give Swift and Jamal Williams both carries. Whew.
Imagine if we do like what New Orleans. Why did I just think of this? Dan Campbell came from New Orleans. They're probably going to do this. Put Jamal and DeAndre on the field at the same time like they did with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, and just try to fool the defense as much as we can. Who are we going to go with? Are we going to power it? Are we going to run outside with DeAndre Swift? I just got excited, man. That's going to be – I hope we do something like that.
I mean, hey, the NFL is going to way more trickery now. Like, you have to disguise your offense. You have to keep the defense guessing. So I could definitely see us doing that, having 2 solid running backs.
Exactly, yeah. That'd be awesome. We got offensive tackle, linebacker, or top safety. Wide receiver can wait, and yeah. Yes, there are a lot of wide receivers in the draft. I do agree, but there's some of the top people are saying, which again, I haven't done my research on some of the later round guys. I just know all the top guys, but from what I've heard, it seems like after those top guys, Devontae Smith, Waddle, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, like after those, the talent level definitely drops. It is a big, deep class, but it's like that talent level. It's like those 4 are going to play and start immediately, and then after that, you're going to have to work them up a little bit. How about giving Minnesota, Chicago, and Green Bay a punter, kicker, and long snapper first round?
Love it. They need to do that. Hire this guy as the GM. Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota.
I mean, we got Ryan Pace and Chicago, so I mean, it is a possibility. He took Mitch Trubisky in the first round, so isn't that equal to taking a kicker? And then
but for us as Lions fans saying to wait on a wide receiver, we did take a wide receiver number 2 overall, and it turned out to be amazing. Calvin Johnson, one of the greats.
And how many
But
playoff games did we win with him?
Exactly. And then you look at Kenny Gallaudet. Second round pick.
Third round pick.
Third round pick. I forgot that. Yep, third round pick. Wasn't highly scouted, but was considered one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. It still is considered that, just injury prone. So I definitely say wait. Don't. We didn't win any playoff games with either one, so doesn't really matter. But we have more needs than wide receiver, so I say wait for a later round pick for wide receiver.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, if we can get one of those top guys, which, again, it's basically Waddle or Chase. If Chase is there, if we get to 7 and Jamar Chase is there, I don't see how
you say that, but I don't understand how you don't consider Smith in that conversation. I think Smith is the best one out of those three.
I don't know. Again, you look at our roster already. Who do we have? Cephas, Perryman, and who's the other guy we signed? What?
We have Cephas, Perryman, Terrell Williams.
I like having mid-tier wide receivers. Look at Cleveland. OBJ got hurt. Baker. Yeah, you're right. You are right. And then, like I said, you got people.
Because look at Stafford when he had Calvin Johnson. Oh, nobody's open? Oh, there's Calvin. Let me just chuck it up to Calvin because 98% of the time he's coming down with that ball. The minute Calvin retired, Stafford's game elevated because he had to look for the open wide receiver. That was Golden Tate, Marvin Jones. Like, he spread out the ball so much more. So yeah. I don't want to take one of the top wide receivers, but I'm also irritated that you don't consider Devontae Smith a top wide receiver.
I don't know.
I think Smith is the best wide receiver out of those three. And I think he needs to be the first one taken out of those three.
I guess 5 years from now we can have this conversation again and see.
We will. I'm saving this video.
All right. Going back to his GM post, talking about Green Bay's GM, what if they go ahead and take another quarterback in the first round? They traded up to take Jordan Love. Then Aaron Rodgers goes on to have one of his best, possibly statistical careers, the years of his career.
Yeah, maybe we've drafted another quarterback. Maybe he'll have even a better year. So let's do it.
Yeah, that would be funny too.
Which, I love Jordan Love, and I honestly wanted us to draft him not first round. We don't call him Smith. We call him Jackson. That's a great point.
Thank you, Go Lions. We appreciate it. We try to only make good facts in here, but we don't sometimes.
But I really love Jordan Love coming out of college last year. I really wanted us to take him, maybe say second round. But obviously Green Bay ended up trading up in the first round to take him. So
yeah, that was an interesting move last year. It shocked pretty much everybody across the NFL, and we still have no idea what. Like I said, after how good Aaron Rodgers was this year, and he says he would like to finish in Green Bay, but it's like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting what Green Bay does with Aaron Rodgers. Are they going to take a positional player and hopefully help out Aaron Rodgers this year? I guess we'll find out. Yeah. I don't know where else we at in the draft. Who else we got to cover? Who is late in the round that might either trade up or, like I said, that I mentioned earlier, we might be able to use one of our first round picks we got in the future to trade up to. Baltimore is definitely going to need their first round pick. The Saints are definitely going to need their first round pick. The Packers, as I just mentioned, probably. The Bills, probably. The Chiefs traded to the Ravens, didn't they? So what? The Ravens have
27 and
31. And then the Bucks are at 32.
Yeah, 31 and 27. Yeah.
All right, so I'm looking at an old NFL draft order before the trade here.
I mean, I guess I could. See, that's the thing is I'm looking at all these teams, and now we're into like all the playoff teams. that most of them came just pieces short. Like I'm looking at Buffalo having 30. They were just a couple pieces short of beating Mahomes. So I don't see them really trading away their pick for future picks. They are going to maybe even use future picks to gain more picks. So maybe they're a team that we could possibly look at maybe trading back to 30 and getting future picks.
Possibly.
In the trade or something. But once we get down here, I don't really see these teams trading up a lot to get that. They kind of are pretty set at their team and would just like to.
Yeah. This is going to be a wild first round, man. It's going to be an interesting year. Saying you want a Jordan Love. Where did he even play at? Jordan Love.
Oh, God, why can't I? Utah State, I think.
Utah.
I think Utah State, I believe. All right.
Collins would be a great trade up, but trade back first round, so late first round. Yeah. That's what we were saying. If we take linebacker, we definitely want to trade back. Like, obviously, we definitely need a linebacker. It was one of the worst position groups last year.
Utah State. I was right.
All
I need my Jordan Love college. But
yeah, if we definitely want to, if we take a linebacker first round, we'd like to trade back. I definitely don't think Micah Parsons or any linebacker is worth the 7th overall pick, top 10 even, really, personally.
Yeah, trading back into the first round for sure. I would love to do that, honestly, because building for the future, trading back, we could get future picks maybe in later rounds or future picks next year and stuff. That will just help us in our retooling. So, I definitely like the trading back idea the most.
Yeah, it seems like that would be the consensus thing because again, unless Swell is there and they don't want a wide receiver unless he's there or somebody's there, then trading back seems like the best option. Again, unless they love one of those top offensive lines that's not from Baylor or Oregon. Where did he play at?
Swell?
Yeah, Baylor, right?
Oregon.
Damn. I was just thinking green. That's all I know.
Oregon.
Utah State. Yeah, see, you're right. And then 6 picks is just not enough. Thanks, Bob Quinn. Yeah, he definitely fucked us over.
Yeah.
We discussed this as soon as he was gone. Like, we didn't think he left us in that bad of a position, but now looking back on it, like, we still have a Haloti Vaitai or whatever, and we're paying him like what? I think 15 to 20 million a year or something like that. Like,
and when you play Madden, he's not even the second string right tackle. He's the third string.
I think he's like the 67 overall or something like that. He's just
he's terrible.
And his contract
like, yeah, here's all this money.
Yeah, he's just not good. Bob
Quinn.
Thank you. I almost said Bob Kraft. Bob Quinn left us with a bunch of horrible contracts and almost no picks for the future. So we just have to hope that Brad Holmes can take those few picks and, like I said, gather either some more or you just take those picks and make the best out of them.
Get some great hits and get some future Hall of Famers.
Which I was making this point last year, and I think it was Michael Lombardi, again, going back to him. I was saying last year that a lot of the picks that he got, almost every single one of them actually ended up playing. So I thought that, it means they were pretty good. They ended up getting playing time, and they actually were somewhat productive. I wouldn't say they were great, but some of them were somewhat productive last year. And Michael Lombardi said, just because all of your rookies play doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. It just means that you don't have...
They're good enough to play.
Yeah, they're good enough to play, or you don't have anyone else at that position. So, like, just because they're starters on your team doesn't mean they won't be backups on 20 other teams in the NFL. So, like, just because a rookie class plays a lot of minutes or a lot of games doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. It just means that we didn't have anyone or there was injuries or something. So I always kind of looked at that and it's like, oh, you know what? We had a lot of players playing last year. It must mean they're doing pretty well, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that. Obviously,
No.
look at Swift and fuck. Why can't I think of our first round? Who was our first round pick last year? I want to say TJ Hawkinson.
Kuda.
Thank you.
Jeff Okudah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okudah. I was
Yeah.
thinking TJ Hawkinson, but I was like, that was the year before. So, yes, Jeff Okudah, DeAndre Swift. Like, they're obviously going to be getting playing times because they're the first few round picks. But it's like those last few, like, later round picks, just because they were playing doesn't necessarily mean that they were deserving of playing time. I like trade back between 15 and 20, maybe an extra second or third. Will make the first trade back easier. Okuda. Yeah, I forgot. Like, I just kept thinking TJ for some reason, but yeah, again, I would love, like we just said, 6 is
I
not
could
enough.
definitely see us trading back with New England. I could definitely see us trading back with New England for sure because they really like Mac Jones. And
Yeah, again, as we mentioned, if it plays out as we started off the show, it'll be Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, according to Dalton, and then again, if the Falcons don't trade out and stay there, they're probably not going quarterback. Then obviously Bengals and Dolphins, we got Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, presumably, and then that leaves 7. That leaves Mac Jones and Trey Lance on the board for Bill Belichick to possibly trade up and get. And, excuse me, where are they at in the second round? New England is sitting at 46 in the second round. And do they not have a third round pick? I'm not seeing a third round pick. Oh, yeah, 96 as a compensating.
okay.
So maybe getting their compensatory pick from the third round and moving back, something like that could possibly happen. I can see a trade back with Denver, maybe the Chargers. They want a top O-line, Patriots in Washington. Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier, Denver and Chargers. But the Chargers, again, unless they really want one of those top offensive linemen, I don't really see them trading up.
Unless they really want Slater or Swall.
Yeah. All right, I think we're getting ready to hop off. Unless you guys, Zach J, and Go Lions, unless you guys have any specific draft questions you want to ask us, I think we're about to get off here soon. Is there any comments or anything else you want to say on the draft? Any thoughts you think that we didn't say earlier, Dalton?
No. It's very questionable draft, I will say that.
Yeah, it's 4 days left this Thursday. I think it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I would take those New England picks. Yeah, that'd be nice. Again, it's just really, if they really believe in a quarterback that much, they're still lacking in a lot of areas in New England, though. Like, because Julian Edelman,
they did lose a lot of players last year to opting out.
But that was mostly on That was mostly on defense. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Bill Belichick doesn't like wide receivers.
I know he's just gonna pick up some white guy from Burger King, and be like, "Hey, you want to play wide receiver for the Patriots? Let's see a 40 time."
Hey, what's your 40? All right, yeah, come be my wide receiver.
All right, Zach J, name your favorite sleeper. Mine is Jonathan Adams, wide receiver from Arkansas. I've heard a lot about him. Another sleeper for me might be Rondale Moore, another wide receiver. He's really, really fast. He could be another one of those Tyreek Hill, just speedster type guys. He might be maybe a second round pick. I don't see him going in the first round possibly, but he can be maybe one of those. If we don't go wide receiver in the first round, he might be somebody that I think could slip to the second round that we might end up getting.
My sleeper is Nico Collins, wide receiver from Michigan. I think he's a third round pick, and I would definitely see him going in the third round, and I would like to see him go to us. Are you happy it's almost draft day? Oh, 100%.
Yes.
We're happy it's almost draft day. We can't wait for draft day. Us as Lions fans, this is like the closest thing we get to a Super Bowl.
I feel like
this is where we start dreaming about the Super Bowl.
I feel like I've been waiting for draft day since like week 5. So, like, honestly.
Well, season's over. When's draft day?
Like,
Next
pretty
season,
much,
baby.
or not week 5. Whenever Patricia was fired, like that week, I was like, all right, who we drafting?
And then who
would you like at 7 if no
7?
trade partner? Like I said, if it plays out as me and Dalton predicted at the beginning of the episode, I would like Waddle. And again, if they don't want that wide receiver, they don't think Waddle, then if Swell or Slater, the other Big Ten tackle, is there, I definitely think we have to go offensive line, like I said, because you just have to solidify that offensive line. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's how I'm going. I'm either going Swell or Slater. If we can't trade back, I don't want to take a wide receiver that early. I don't trust them. I'd rather have a solidified offensive line for Goff and Swift and everybody and Williams. So I'd rather have offensive line over receiver.
Yeah. Just a quick note. You did see what Justin Jefferson did this last year, right?
Yes.
All right.
That was my fantasy quarterback, man. Led me to the Super Bowl. How do I not see what he did this season?
Wide receiver, your fantasy wide receiver. You said quarterback.
Justin Jefferson. Oops. Yeah.
Who'd you say?
I thought you were talking.
No. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, did you see what he did?
I did. Randy Moss type numbers.
Yeah.
But I don't see 3 wide receivers being that good. The only one I see being that good is Smith.
Did you guys see the story coming out about CMU? No, I did not. What happened?
Yeah, I didn't.
Zach J.
I didn't.
And then Go Lions said sleeper Eskridge wide receiver from Western Michigan. I'm not familiar with him. I haven't really heard too much about him. He might be a late round pick. I'll have to look him up, check out some film on him for sure.
Yeah, some third day probably.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's his name? Antonio Brown was from what? Central Michigan, 5th round pick, and now, I mean, obviously, if you dismiss all the drama, he's one of the best wide receivers of all time. But I like B. Christensen, offensive tackle, BYU.
Tackle.
Hun Funga, I'm gonna say Hamlin, and then Wallow. All sleepers. Those are definitely some names. Again, I'm not really familiar with them, but I will definitely check up on them, and I will be sure to watch in the draft, see if any of those names are taken.
One spot.
CMU quarterback among one shot. What happened? I'll look it up.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure. Yeah,
oh, he was shot. He was shot. His quarterback was shot.
Oh. Wow.
Well, what
prayers
happened?
Up to him.
Central Michigan quarterback John Keller and another student were shot in an apartment complex. Jesus.
Well, prayers up to
wow.
QB of Central Michigan.
Yeah, I was
hopefully
not aware
he's
of
okay. Dang, hopefully he's okay.
Shot too. Sorry. No, you're fine, Zach. Great work on the names. We are infamous for messing up people's names on here. I'm sorry.
I don't even try to say it. I just leave it up to Jordan.
And I'm terrible. I can barely speak English, let alone pronounce any other pronunciations. So if you've ever watched the show for a period of time, we are infamous for mispronouncing people's names. So I do apologize to all of those players for mispronouncing.
I have to hear the name said to.
When it comes to draft night, when we do our actual post-draft special, we will be sure to get every name right. I promise you. But yes, again, prayers up for John
CMU
Keller.
John Keller. All right.
Yes, I was not aware of that.
John Keller. Keep fighting, man.
All right, but yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. I did not expect to go for an hour and a half, so Yeah. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Go Lions, Zach J, everyone else who tuned in. Yeah, again, feel free to comment. Follow us on all of our socials listed up ahead. As Dalton mentioned earlier, we might do like a live Q&A on Twitter during the draft.
Instagram, anything. Probably all three of them, honestly.
Probably, yeah. We'll be on all of them. Just feel free. Tag us in anything. We'll always be willing to respond. We love talking with fans and everything, interacting with everyone. So, again, we're not sure what we're going to do. If we're going to do draft night, we're probably just going to end up doing a full post-draft episode, cover everything. But, again, we'll be on Twitter. We'll be on social media covering it all and everything. So be sure to follow us. Zach, have a good night. Thank you as well. So everyone else tuning in, you guys have a good night.